I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade.
Love that song. We love our music here at Home Wizards, and we love that you're listening with us. Cindy Dole, we're all about talking about the home and the garden, because I think that life is better when you find ways to make them better. So thanks for sharing part of your Saturday with me. 888-KFWB 980 is the number, 888-539-2980. You just might have a gardening question, and I've got the right guy to help answer it. Thinking of growing new things, especially things that you can eat? Well, you've probably heard about this whole community garden thing, and it's a great way to start in so many ways. Just ask my guest, Al Renner, who is so passionate about both of them. He's been around a lot of gardens and has probably been around a lot of dirt, although his nails look very, very clean. And he's been doing a lot of good things throughout LA County. He's the executive director of the Los Angeles Community Garden Council, and very familiar name. So thanks for being with us, Al.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And I've got to say that every garden master, every passionate gardener that I've met has a sparkle in their eye, and you have it. What is it about that?
Oh, I just think it's health.
Yeah.
And there is something to it, putting your hands in the dirt, which does do something different. You know, we don't know what, but it does do that.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of the key to longevity, I think, for a lot of us.
I think it is that. It has that in there. Mm-hmm. There are other studies underway on that type thing.
Really?
Sure. There's a wonderful little study going on up north, and the lady there uses ex-convicts in her community gardening at San Quentin. And the interesting point there is it puts that twinkle in my eye, and it puts that longevity. It keeps them from going back to prison. Regular recidivism rate is 70-some%. You go through that course up there and you go back 22% of the time. So it does something when you put your hands in the dirt.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like having a pet too, right? It's that calming feeling, and it's therapy, right?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And of course, well, speaking of therapy, I mean, these different 3 community gardens that you've helped become a reality, right? In Silver Lake, Echo Park, and then, of course, the one that I always see when I'm driving on the 110 by Dodger Stadium, Solano Canyon.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Those are really your pride and joy, babies.
Yes. I'm the garden master yet at Solano Canyon, which is a member under the Garden Council. Mm-hmm. The Echo Park Garden, it had to depart. It was private land. But, yes, it was my first real community garden, so it had its special points too.
So for people who don't know what community gardens are, how would you describe them?
Well, the modern day definition of a community garden is probably different than what was, say, at the Second World War level, where people just grew for food in their backyard for the war effort.
The victory garden thing.
Right, the victory garden thing. Today, we encourage them to grow for their own food. Just because locally grown food and it's fresher and it doesn't come from anywhere else. So that's what we do with community gardening. Community gardens are in many places. They're in the park system in LA has 14 gardens. They're on private property. We have them on DWP land. We have them on Caltrans land. It's wherever we can find a piece of property.
Have them on rooftops sometimes.
That is in the works.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles, a bit experimental because of the heat. But and we don't usually build buildings strong enough to carry the weight.
Oh, yeah.
But there are some buildings, and there are some things that are beginning to be attempted in the area, yes. Uh-huh. That would probably be more of an urban agriculture thing as opposed to having a community up walking on your roof.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the bottom line is you can be so creative, and I love how, for those of us who might say, gosh, I'd love to garden, but fill in the blanks, I don't know how, or I don't have the space, or I don't blah, blah, blah. This seems to be a great solution for a lot of folks. Well, because it's kind of like a laboratory, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it certainly is. Now we have about, I would think we have between 65 and 75 community gardens at any one time. We lose a few, we gain, because that's sort of what I do, is help organize and build gardens also. In that vein, it becomes, well, sometimes I'm an old man. I sometimes lose my thought here.
That's okay.
But when you build these gardens like we do, and where they are, we build them in the poorest sections of the city. They produce an enormous amount of food in our city. Like I was saying, they're in everywhere. We have them hidden in parks. We have them everywhere.
But it's a learning tool because the folks who participate get so much back, right? They're learning how to do their own gardening if they want to. They're getting a plot of land that they may not have, or they're getting a skill they can take to their home, and then they're also helping produce some food for people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I use me as an example because I'm, a fair skin. I'm pretty fair skinned, and I have the blue eyes. But our community, we've sort of lost our collective heritage on how to plant foods and things. When you think of a farmer today of my ethnic makeup, he sits in a tractor and it's air conditioned. It plows 16 rows. If you ask him how he would have to plant an artichoke by hand on the side of a hill, he probably wouldn't know exactly how to do that. But the Hispanic community and the black community, they still have that real cultural heritage, which is part of the preservation, which you get in a community garden. And it's about the only place you can find it.
It's so rich in so many ways. I mean, it really kind of crosses over so many different layers of who we are as human beings,
It crosses every ethnic group. It crosses every fiscal group. From the rich to the poor, everybody likes to garden. One of the interesting facts, in the city of Los Angeles, there is not a community garden that does not have a waiting list.
Really?
Not one.
So I can't come over and help you right now?
You can come over and volunteer. You can certainly come over and volunteer. You could go and volunteer at most any garden, but you would have to be on a waiting list. There's a waiting list the minute the garden opens up.
That's huge. So we need more community gardens then. We don't have enough.
We certainly don't have enough. And when you consider how much food is being grown, I'm not a mathematician, but it's not real hard.
I'm not into numbers either. That's okay.
But we have, in the city system, we have 2,500 gardeners at £1 a week.
Wow.
2,500 times the year. And their real take-home is about £5 to £7 a week. So you're talking about millions of pounds of food being grown in community gardens. That helps keep the big boys under control also.
So let's talk about the Solano Garden, for instance, because I know everyone sees that as they're driving around, especially if you're going to a Dodger game. You see that right there on the hill.
Yes.
Talk about what were some of the challenges to create a hillside edible, garden, and then, to make the most of that?
It was a definite challenge, and for those who like you are learning a little bit about it, we built that with recovering addicts and homeless, which made it a real challenge at times. But also, when you go look at Solano Canyon Community Garden and the project that's there, it's an erosion control project for the side of the hill. The terracing is a byproduct that we planned into it, but the real reason it's there is to keep this sand from going down our streets. I used to live in the canyon, from going down the street and directly into the river, directly into the ocean. It was a whole plan, and it took a long time. Now it's wonderful, and we have a restaurant-supported agriculture system at Solano, which we hope can be someday duplicated anywhere and everywhere.
Well, hold that thought, because when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the restaurant helping you out, and also some of the vegetables that you would suggest that maybe we think of in our own little, private community garden.
Oh,
right?
Sure.
You're listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole. You can call in at 888-KFWB-980, or check me out on Facebook. Facebook, follow Cindy Dole. We're back right after this.
Do you choose music?
Of course. course, Al Renner is with me, and he's been in gardens for a long time, executive director of LA Community Garden, and I was asking him, do you know that song? Oh, yes. Green Onions. Cindy Dole here. We love our music, and we love to talk about all things home and garden here on Home Wizards, so hope you're having some fun, and this is maybe, lightening your load, giving you a little smile, and while you're also getting some fun ideas to improve those spaces you call home. And so Al Renner, who has that sparkle in his eye, has given us some good ideas about the garden, first starting with a community garden and getting involved. But I'm a little discouraged. If I want to help out, I have to be on a waiting list.
Yes, you really do.
How do you get bumped up? You have to pay your way in?
Well, there are some of the gardens who, if you go to the garden and you say volunteer and help a senior garden, then you get a higher step up on the round. They make you help their seniors.
Okay. Well, how long is the wait to finally get selected?
If the garden in Hollywood, the Wattles Garden, I think is probably 1.5 years.
Are you serious?
The Ocean View Farms is 1.5 years.
I better sign up now to get in in 2 years from now or something. Wow.
We really need to build more gardens, but like everything else, budgets are being cut. So that's probably, we're going to continue. The city has a great program. Our city really has a very good program.
What makes it so good, do you think?
What makes it so good is, and I'm not sure that it's done anywhere else, but all communities get community development block grants, and they come through the state to the city, and that's out of those proceeds comes the Section 8s, the welfare, the WIC, the food stamps, and a number of things. We talked our city into taking a small amount of that, a very small amount of that, and it goes into a program that's run by the Los Angeles Conservation Corps, and our job is to build community gardens with the perspective of having about 65% of that under the poverty level, and it's not hard to do. And so, we feel that that's one of the few programs that we have in this city that I don't know that it's duplicated anywhere. And in the past 10 years, we've probably built 15, 20 new gardens.
Well, definitely there's a demand for it. And I know that, there's a lot of gardeners listening to the show right now. And so I know we're all feeling the same thing. It's exciting, but you're disappointed because you want to help now. So next to helping out now, what can we do in our own gardens to start having an experience, to start growing an edible garden?
Well, and Cindy, in Los Angeles, we now have a new truck farming ordinance. You can actually grow that food and sell it or get it to an agency that distributes food.
To those who need it.
Right, to those who need it.
And how does that work?
You just
give them a call.
Yeah, you just give them a call.
I got a bunch of zucchinis, and they're larger than life. Do you want to pick them up? And they'll come.
And, or there are organizations now who will definitely come. We have organizations like Fallen Fruit, Food Forward, to name two, that they get backyard fruit, and that's what they do, is they distribute it. They get it into the food chain.
Because that's one of the things. There's a lot of people, it's lack of space, or then, okay, now I'm overrun by zucchinis. Now what am I going to, right?
But
and you feel guilty. You don't want to throw it away. You want to,
And the food bank can always use it. The food banks can always use it. A lot of the new things it's called yardscape.
Yep.
And edible landscaping is, of course,
huge.
Very big.
Right.
And you even have farmscaping, where people are actually tending to grow, they'll grow a lot of lettuces and more of in
artistic ways.
Right.
Yeah. Edible gardening has become such a fashion-forward thing, beyond the essential of helping people be able to eat, and saving money, because like the Victory Garden, the economy has prompted, I think there's at least 70% of us now that are trying veggie gardens in the country.
Right.
It's huge. But we also want it to look pretty. As pretty as we can.
Right. And in Southern California, you can do that wonderfully. But also remember, Cindy, probably starting next week, in the food chain, we're going to see the cost of oil hit food.
Oh, yeah.
It's not in there right now, but it's going to have to be there.
Yeah.
That's why you should be growing right now lettuces. You can start your baby tomatoes if they're going to be in a place where you won't get frosted.
Like weather tonight?
Like weather tonight. It's going to be pretty.
Are you worried about the Solano Garden tonight?
Most of what we have will withstand it. We have lots of kales. We have many herbs up there, and lettuces. Some of the things the strawberries might not like it. Some of those blooms might get nipped tonight. But in general, yeah. And fava beans won't get hurt. No, the fava beans won't get hurt. None of that.
So this is a good incentive. I mean, yeah, we definitely need to think of the economics part of it and just get started if you haven't already.
Oh,
right?
Immediately. Right. And most people think of gardening right now because spring is coming. Where, for those of us who garden seriously in Southern California, you can garden 24/7, 365. There's never really, in fact, winter in LA is really July, August, and September. That's when nothing grows. You merely keep it alive. Now, that's not true. Tomatoes grow. There are things that grow, and they really thrive on the hot weather. But you don't want to really start a new garden in the middle of July, August, or September. That's basically our winter.
So if we get through this cold snap overnight,
yes,
and we're inspired because we're listening to all these good things you're sharing with us, if we can't do it tomorrow, maybe next weekend, what would you advise, or maybe 5 things that we start planting now to begin an edible garden?
I think you can put in chard almost immediately, the rainbow chard. You can put in carrots right now. You can put in beets right now. It's a little late for the leafies. Maybe your kales, your Italian kale, would be very nice, and it'll last well into the summer. And if you hurry, you might get a crop of fava beans in yet. You just go to the store and buy a bag and plant them.
I'm still working on my artichoke plant. It's
they're wonderful.
Oh, they're so pretty, you know. And
not very water efficient, though.
Yeah, I have it in a container, and so I've kind of been. It's now been almost a year, and we have yet to be able to eat one of the artichokes.
Do you let them bloom yet?
I do.
Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
The first year you should let them bloom.
Yeah.
And then
we'll,
after it.
Hopefully we'll be a little luckier next time because in the heats of the summer, sometimes they get burned,
And right now, aphids are all over everything. For those who are dealing with it like we are, it's the really good soaps.
Yeah.
You're really good insecticide soaps right now.
What about battling that with the good bugs, like ladybugs?
If the ladybugs could eat 5 million aphids a day. However, speaking of the ladybugs, it's integrated pest management is what that's really called.
Yeah.
And in our garden, we've started to leave rows in between garden beds and on the sides 10 times more than what we ever did in the past, when we're finding that the ladybugs, when they eat there, they go back over there in that row where it's more home. They need the weeds. So we leave weeds in the corners of your gardens that you can control. You don't want a weed that's not going to. But you'll find how many little critters will live in there, and they will leave there and go into your garden and eat and go back where they feel protected.
Oh, that's nice. And they won't fly away as much.
And they don't fly away. We can release 1,000 ladybugs, and you won't find but 10 of them the next day. But they will eat till they're full, and then they go.
Yeah.
And there's no place for them to stay, hidden from the praying mantises, so therefore.
Well, tell people, how can those of us who are interested in all this get on that waiting list to participate in one of the LA community gardens?
Well, the first and easiest way to find it is to go online, and I'm not the greatest online.
Oh, I know you are, I can tell.
But the master gardening program that Yvonne Savio runs is absolutely just. We all keep our information to her up to date so that phone number is there and they can get to an individual garden. For the Garden Council, you can go to LA Community Garden Council. We encourage lots of our gardens to have websites, and they are really starting to do that too, and we're trying to hook it together. It's such a growing community in Los Angeles, and we are on cutting edge out here, especially with our restaurant-supported agriculture system, which is another topic altogether.
Yeah, and so restaurants are basically taking the food that you're growing and helping somehow.
They're paying for the food.
They're paying for the food. Oh my gosh, isn't that good news?
Yes, this is it's a boon to the restaurant, because
Fresh vegetables. Who doesn't want that?
And they do go get that.
And it's good PR. We love it.
They go to the farmers market and they buy the top. That's the problem. They should be supporting a farmer so they don't have to pay top price.
Well, Al, it's been great having you. Al Renner, he is an all-time gardener. We're going to have you back, okay?
Oh, I would love to.
And I want to get on that waiting list to be a part of the LA Community Garden. You guys, you can too. And I'll put all this up on the website so you can partake. Thank you. Have a great weekend, Al. All right?
Thank you.
As we move our way into the second hour, I kind of like this song. Kind of puts you in a good mood. Seth, let's crank it up. Hour 2, Home Wizards coming at you right now.